So just how long is the shoreline at Deep Creek Lake? Most places say 65 miles, but you see all kinds of other numbers too. So I decided to do the most logical thing, right, is walk the shoreline and see how far it really is. So I am starting, this is where my dock is, right across from Meadow Mountain, Deep Creek Lake State Park. There's the State Park Bridge down there with a nice sunrise coming in. And I'll be documenting some points of interest along the way, but it's the day after Christmas 2021 and the lake is pretty far down, so it should be as good a time as any to give this a shot. So we'll see how far I get. So I've got a somewhat easy-ish area here that's not too big on the rocks, and I'm also in the main part of the lake right now, one of the bigger areas. So you can see Uno's there, Will-O-Wisp area, and you can see my trusty companion who's leading the way here for me. That's Spencer. He loves the lake. Normally more in the summer, he'll jump off the dock and do that. Do just a big loop, jump off, come back in and repeat until it's time to go up. Spencer, come on. He loves to explore too, so that's a great thing about having a fun dog. Spencer, come on. Spencer, come. So I just came through that section and I started to do a video selfie mode while I was walking. It was just way too slippery, but I've always liked this little stretch here. I think this would be a cool place to have a dock. You'd have a nice little natural water slide, which is great in the summer, but when you're walking along like this, you almost have to keep your foot in the crevices like an alpinist to make sure you don't slide down the rock face. Uh-oh. Spencer went ahead and went in, so I hope he doesn't get cold during the day. Come on, buddy. So he made that decision. Luckily my backup plan for this whole hike is I can just give my wife a call and she can pretty much pick me up wherever, however far I get, or if Spencer starts freezing, or I just get tired, or whatever. So that's what's great about this hike. It's all on Maryland state property. The state of Maryland owns the entire lake bed. So I think there may be a couple spots where I got to cut in a little bit, but we'll see what happens when we get to those narrow spots. There's going to be one up here. So I'll keep y'all posted. So I made it to the bridge here, Glendale Bridge. This area is referred to on old maps as the Narrows. Over to the left, once you get over the bridge, it's called Narrows Hill, because back before there was a Deep Creek Lake, Deep Creek ran along here, and it kind of carved out a narrow, almost ravine, according to the accounts, but like a kind of real rocky, narrow pinch point of the creek. So you can kind of still see that today with all the little rock formations, and we'll see if we can make it under the bridge here without having to get back up on the road. Well, I was able to make it under the bridge there. There's enough rock that's exposed to make it through there, and we're looking down at the southern part of the lake now. But yeah, if the lake wasn't as far down as it is now, I definitely would not have been able to make that without just coming up down the road here. So no big deal, but it's more fun to follow the lake bed or the lake shore as much as possible. So it looks like we've got a nice easy stretch for a bit, so we will see how this goes. Well, it looks like I've got a pretty easy stretch of walking for a bit, so I can walk and talk, keep an eye on the dog, and just kind of give you an idea what it's like to walk the shoreline December 26th. I think when I looked it was high 40s current temperature. Probably only supposed to get into the mid 50s today. So unfortunately, a typical December day around here, or becoming that way. I'd say, you know, and you wonder if it's nostalgia, but it seemed more frequent that there were white Christmases, substantial snow on the ground throughout December, and it does seem like the impacts of climate change are being felt here. Shorter seasons, a lot more extreme weather events. We had a pretty heavy rainstorm just all day yesterday. So it's happening here. But it does kind of give sometimes some unique opportunities. So the lake management and the operator of the dam that has created this lake have worked to lower the lake levels to some of the lowest levels that it has been at ever. So that provides this nice chance to access some areas by walking that you normally wouldn't be able to get to. Ooh, there's some deer prints. Deer coming down for a drink. I guess up there. I don't know. And maybe some deer vacationing up there. But yeah, probably around this time of year, yeah, there's where the water line is. It would definitely be way further up, and like going under the Glendale Bridge would not have been possible with the typical winter lake levels. So just a good opportunity. It would be nice if it was a little colder. Would have frozen the mud up a little bit, but it really hasn't been too bad so far. It's been more of the rocks that seem to be just a hassle to walk through. A lot of ankle twisting and slipping around on the rocks. So we're coming around the bend here. So Glendale Road is up on our left, and we'll be coming down into this cove. And I'll save some battery for the rest of the trip. Hopefully I end up over there at some point today. So right now I'm at the tip, kind of the middle of what's called Windy Cove. I don't know, I think just the DNR calls it that. But up there you got Glendale Road once it's crossed over the bridge, and then the Beckman's Peninsula Road right there. That's essentially Beckman's Peninsula right there. It's a little windier out here, but I've never heard anyone call it that, but it is what is on the DNR maps. So the irony here is probably about a 5-minute walk to get to that little gray and white house there from my house. So I've been walking the lake shore for about an hour, the long route. So not as the crow flies, but you know, there's some places on the lake that are much faster to get to by boat from point A to point B, and then there's places where it's a lot easier to do it by road. That's just the interesting contour of a lake shore. So the walking has been pretty nice. It's got a little muddy for a while, but this is kind of nice gravel and mud. So, hey, I'd be happy if it stayed like this the rest of the way. Been seeing a good bit of deer tracks throughout this hike. So, I guess the deer agree that this is a nice spot to be walking. Probably get some water. And yeah, check back in on the next point of interest. So just kind of rounded the bend here. I'm coming into North Glade Cove. I've been going for about an hour and 15 minutes and have covered about 2.6 miles. So I'm not doing the math in my head right now on that, but you know, a little bit over 2 miles an hour. So hopefully I get a solid 10 hours in today, and it'll be at 20 miles around. So just some cool old style log cabin up there. There's a good dichotomy of that versus some of the other bigger houses, the newer ones. So what's been interesting is just kind of seeing the big difference as you're walking along. A lot of times you're driving or you're on the lake on a boat and you just don't really quite notice some of the houses that are tucked back in a little bit more. So it's been interesting and cool to see some of these houses up close and see the old ones, the old style. Probably most of them are 1950s era, you know, back when this was primarily the vacation spot for Pittsburghers. That was the closest metropolitan area you could reasonably get to by car. DC, Baltimore really opened up to be, you know, getting to the lake when I-68 opened up in the 90s. And that really kind of brought a new wave of people coming to visit and buy stuff and build new stuff to the lake. Up until then, it was primarily, I would say, a lot of people who from Pittsburgh, a lot of people from worked in some sort of blue collar job, a lot of, you know, mill workers who retired, or people who had good incomes, and the lake wasn't eye-wateringly expensive for someone with a good pension or a good union type job, so they could afford to buy a modest lake house here. I think that was kind of the main type of property owner for a long time, and now it seems to be shifting a lot to people who may own the property, use it some, but primarily are renting it out for vacation rentals. You know, which is kind of the natural progression of things as things become more developed, more of a destination that people know about. They're going to want to be able to come up here and visit and rent, and it's a, you know, good way to pay for a very expensive house that you just bought here at the lake. But yep, all of those things come with good and bad consequences, so you just have to learn how to manage the overcrowding and the prices and all of that, while still keeping everything that makes this area special, like just kind of the nice quiet solitude and peace of this area. So I'm coming into the entrance to Harvey's Peninsula now, or Harvey's Cove. I'll be interested to see if the little I don't know, island that's often at Harvey's Cove is accessible when the water's this low. But you know, when even in the summer, the water gets down low enough that you got to be careful of not hitting it in your boat. Spencer, come. So Spencer likes to chase chipmunks, and got to keep a close eye on him. Spencer, come on. Come on. There he comes. Come on, buddy. So I don't know if people have picked over the shoreline since the water's been so low, or it's just people have been really careful about not dropping anything, but I don't think I've seen anything of any value. A lot of muddy old hats that have been stuck in the rocks, rusty pipes, a lot of dock parts, that kind of thing. Saw a wrench. It looked like it was probably just from someone taking their dock apart, so I just laid it on their dock. But yeah, you know, I would expect there'd be something cool to see with the water this low, but maybe not. All right, looks like I've got some maneuvering coming up over those trees, so I'll sign off for now. I'm here at another ironic spot over there to the left of the red barn is Beckman's Peninsula Road again, kind of right at this neck here where it gets real narrow, where the land gets real narrow. So I was talking about Windy Cove earlier. I was on the other side of this neck of land, and then yeah, so I've been walking for about 2 hours now, and could have gotten to this spot in less than 5 minutes had I just walked on the road. My other question was, can you get to the little island? And it is still out in the water, maybe with a good pair of chest waders, but I still wouldn't want to try that out in this water temperature. Yeah, one thing that I've noticed is you can definitely hear the road noise on Glendale Road real evidently. It's just super quiet back out on North Glade, Cove, in that area. But any day for a walk is a good one. I had a very lengthy detour. Take the road through the Waterfront Greens area. I just got to be too lucky. So it would be North Glade Run, whoever that was just not able to cross that. So I really had to cut all the way, loop all the way around through that area. Finally got back on the lakeshore. That may throw off the total calculation there of the lakeshore miles. So we're not going to be down to the nearest centimeter here. But part of the process is the journey. So it was, I figured there would probably be that type of issue when I got to some of the major tributaries, feeder streams of Deep Creek Lake. It really turned out, yeah, it was kind of just I had to go pretty far back to get to a point where I could cross that little stream and then get back onto the lake. Wasn't crossing through like swampy marshlands. But back on the shore and moving forward. So I am back out at the mouth of Harvey's Cove. I And then to my left, I'll be going down North Glade Cove. I think earlier I said the feeder back there was North Glade Run, but that's actually going to be up here. But it's just one of those indicators of once you've been walking for a while, you do kind of just lose track of things in your mind sometimes. But been going for about, there's some mollusks, some sort of lake snails. Might have to do some dinner later. But yeah, been walking a little over 3 hours. It's about 11 a.m. right now. Started at like 7:45 when I got all my gear together. And the time on the activity tracker says a little over 6 miles. So yeah, I think I'm going to be lucky to get that 20-mile goal in a day. So we'll see. But yeah, coming up here, North Glade Cove's pretty long on my left, and then I really have no idea what the condition, how far back I'm gonna have to go to cross whatever stream that is that's feeding it here. So I could tack on some extra time. One thing to think about on these hikes is bathrooms. So I know a couple people around the lake that I should have called beforehand. See if I could stop in at their place. They've got it all probably locked up for the winter though, winterized. But yeah, even if you're a guy, it's a little problematic. There aren't a lot of tucked away areas that you can make a quick bathroom break. And if you got to do anything more involved, pretty much out of luck. There's no public facility, so maybe when I get to the northern part of the lake, I'll be able to pop into a restaurant or something when I get to McHenry. But yeah, on this end, this time of year, there's nothing going to be open. I think the marinas on the southern end of the lake and the Yacht Club will be the only place you can use a bathroom in the southern part of the lake. I have some friends who are members of the Yacht Club just so they can have a bathroom to use when they're out on the boat. But yeah, still plugging away and still enjoying this less windy than when it started today. Well, I don't really have anything of note to note, but just hadn't made a clip in a while, and the walking's pretty easy, so thought I'd do some narration. I'm coming to the end of now North Glade Cove, so I'm expecting a little extra detour to get around whatever the stream is that's going to be coming in here. I had to do the one that was around where Bill's Marina is. I'm not sure what the name of that little stream is, but that turned out to be a little bit extra detour. Luckily there was a log that had fallen down, so I was able to cross that old school style, but it's all right. So it's been actually met a couple people, not doing the whole lake, but just doing a little stretch of it here and there. So that's been nice. So yeah, I think there might be some real, desire by people in the area, lakefront property owners, that kind of thing, to consistently do this large of a drawdown, because it really does allow you to open up some time to, or some space to walk along the lake shore. there are several spots that you just can't do it unless the water is down far enough. It looks like we're coming into the end here of the cove. I'll probably have to slop through some muck here. Spencer doesn't care. He's going to be a muddy mess when we get home. Or he already is, but he is going to be probably sleeping in his crate tonight. And hopefully well tired after today. It's about noon, so I've been walking for about 4 hours. Did take a little snack break at one point, put on a long sleeve layer. Started out I was fine, but it's just been kind of windy on and off all day. It's been really cold, but sun has been peeking out. That's been nice. Seems like as soon as I put on my sunglasses though, the sun goes away and the wind picks up, so I'm gonna keep them off for now. Well, I'm on the south bank of North Glade Cove, so I made the very long transit up to the point where I could cross what I guess now is North Glade Run or Creek or something. You have to go up a bit to get to that point. I guess with the rain we had yesterday, that made that a lot bigger, but it didn't look like there would be that many spots to cross it without getting wet. So maybe for my next trip, I'll just be prepared to do some wading. Get some zip-off hiking pants and just be ready to wade. Mr. Adventure there went after a deer, so he's a little bit more tired now too. You can tell he's when he gets tired, he doesn't just keep running ahead. He'll have a sit there, run off a little bit ahead, sit down again, rest. So it's going to be about 1 o'clock and probably about time for lunch. So I think we'll probably just poach on Sky Valley picnic tables up here, grab some lunch, sit down for a little bit, and then continue on. So I've got, what time is it? It's just at 1 o'clock exactly. Sunset is right at 5 right now. So probably, just four more hours of daylight left. We'll see how far that gets me. Well, I am back to that entrance of, let's see, Harvey's Cove. But now I'm on the south bank of North Glade Cove. So it is about 2 o'clock. Probably got about 3 more hours of daylight left. And this is always the time in a trip when you're just like, why the hell did I do this again? So yeah, you start to run out of gas. Just be ready to pack it up. So we'll see. I may, I'm not proud, I may see what my wife's doing and see if she's can come get me early. It's been a great hike so far. A good day, getting pretty cold with this wind. Well, I made it back out to the main part of the lake. We're at the mouth of North Glade Cove. Finally starting to get some sun. Since we were on the south edge, whatever it was. The last couple miles, last couple hours, it's all been in the shade. Now it's windy. It is really windy out here. Not too bad with the sun out though. And still going along. I guess I'm reaching my window to the side. I'm going to bag it early or hike it out until dark. And my original pickup time was going to be about 5:30. I haven't made it too much further since my last clip, but this is just a nice cool scene here. I really feel like with this wind pushing the water in, it just feels like we're at the beach almost. And yeah, I guess since I'm out of the cove now, I can feel the wind, but it's just not nearly as bad. Get the full radiation from the sun, so it is pretty nice. About to turn off the video. I guess this is the most exciting thing I've found so far. Very deadly looking rubber snake. Well, I did just call it in. I am at the Deep Creek Lake Yacht Club. So that is the one that is often, I think, the lesser known. There's the Turkey Neck Yacht Club, but this one is off of Shoreline Drive, kind of around the 1,000 Acres area. Real nice spot, and I decided this is a good spot to get in and out and start the next leg of the journey when I get to that point. But I just hit stop on my activity tracker, and it said I did 15.1 miles today, so that's pretty good. And I also found this awesome hammer. So it was pretty much around no other docks. Normally I just throw it on a dock that looks like it fell off of, but in this case, finders keepers. So I finally found something good in the lake too. So until leg number 2 of the trip, stay outside and stay active, and we'll see you out in the lake.